I'm Sean Griffey. I view myself as two things. One's an entrepreneur, and those have been combined into, most notably the founding of a business, being a co-founder of a business called Industry Dive, which has now about 140 journalists covering 30 markets every day. We have journalists that cover it, and we write for an audience of about 16 million senior executives. These are always fun, but I will say three things. One, the first thing I learned in college was how to juggle. Number two, I have trained and wrestled 3 Olympic wrestlers. And the third is I speak 3 languages. Well, before I started, our own business, I was a management consultant, and I got there, and the senior partner came to me and said, "Listen."
Hey, Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Dan.
No problem at all. Do you want to just take 60 seconds, give people a little bit of context about who you are, career, and then 3 statements of which 2 are true?
Sure. So I'm Sean Griffey. I view myself as two things. One's an entrepreneur, and one's a digital media aficionado. Those have been combined into, most notably the founding of a business, being a co-founder of a business called Industry Dive, which has now about 140 journalists covering 30 markets every day, anywhere from the retail industry, utility industry, food and beverage, you name it. We have journalists that cover it, and we write for an audience of about 16 million senior executives. In terms of the 3 statements for me, these are always fun, but I will say three things. One, the first thing I learned in college was how to juggle. Number two, I have trained and wrestled 3 Olympic wrestlers. And the third is I speak 3 languages. So those are my statements.
Amazing. I can't wait. So before we get to that, what's your single best piece of advice ever?
Well, before I started, our own business, I was a management consultant. And so first job out of college was there. And I'll never forget, the first project I put on. And as a 23-year-old, 24-year-old, you'd fly in on a Monday morning and stay a week till Thursday at the client site. And I went on my very first project. The consulting firm was charging, way too much for someone who knew nothing, fresh out of school. And I got there, and the senior partner came to me and said, "Listen, we're about to walk into this client's office. They know that we're charging a lot for you. And you've got 4 days until you fly out of here on Thursday to prove to them that you can help solve their problems. And if you think you have another week to kind of prove to them, you don't, because if you get here Thursday and they don't see anything in you, they're not going to fly back here the next week. And your job depends on you flying back here every week to deal with this client." And I don't know if it's the best advice to me, but what I took from that has always been, you have to make the most of every day, and you have to accomplish something every day. You can't wait for the next week or the week after, right? And that you are always you're always have an opportunity to solve problems in the smallest ways, even when you don't know everything. You need to look for what can you do in that time and take advantage of it. And so I've tried to keep that with me with what I'm doing is what am I going to accomplish today that's going to solve my problem or someone else's problem. And if you can find something every day, you're going to be pretty successful.
That's great. I love that. So the moment of truth, which was the fact that wasn't true?
Well, I'm an American. I don't speak 3 languages. None of us do. I barely speak 1. But I did, the very first thing I learned in college was how to juggle. I got there and I don't know, instead of cracking open the books, the guy across the hall was a master juggler, and I decided, well, if there's someone who's a master juggler, I should at least be able to toss 3 balls in the air by the time I'm out of here. And so I spent a lot of time with that. And I also, at a very young, even before that, I wrestled quite a bit and got very lucky to be able to go to training camps with some very good wrestlers who were much, much better than me. And I got to be a practice dummy for a number of wrestlers who had high ambitions, including a guy named Kurt Angle, who was an Olympic gold medalist. And I didn't get to practice with him much because I wasn't much practice for him. But when they let me in, it was it was an eye-opening experience. The level of difference between someone world class at this and a joker like me.
Amazing. Thanks. Really appreciate your time, Sean.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Bye.